Welcome back, guys and girls, to Dad's Toy Garage. We're over at Tony's shop today and we're working on Project Snake Charmer. You haven't seen it in a while, so a lot of you new guys and girls probably don't even know what this is. It's a 72 Toyota Celica. It is highly modified to do autocross and track duty. We're going to be building taillights for it today. We're going to be finishing up the big brake installation, burnishing the brakes, bunch of other little itty bitty things, adding tow hooks, getting closer to getting ready to tune. Basically everything we need to do to get this car running and driving on the racetrack up to the point of tuning. Tuning is next for this car after this video, at some point before race season starts for us. So let's get into this, let's get it done, and let's have some fun. All right. So let's do a little walkthrough on this car, guys. This will be quick. I've made it a wide body, or Tony and I have made it a wide body. The back is 14 inches wider. It's out of an S550 Mustang, 2015. And it's the same one we took our engine out of. We have a gas tank we had made by a local guy, but it's got an IRS suspension in it. We're using the Mustang equipment. So it's bare bones in here. We got Mazda Speed 3 seats. We put the Mustang dash in there. All the floors scratch built. And I've incorporated, actually, I don't know if we'll be able to see it here, but everything Mustang floor pan that holds the suspension, we literally put it into here. Those chairs are way back over stock location because we've moved the engine 18 inches back. You can see the 2.3 EcoBoost sitting halfway under the cowl. Cooling fans, that's part of what we got to get set up here. Yeah, those Speed 3 seats fit really nice. We've done so much, it's hard to actually remember what we've all done here, guys. We've got the Miata front clip in there. I've made that work. So yeah, everything's tied in. This car is actually very nimble. We're very much looking forward to hitting the track. We are not going to keep Mustang wheels on it, so that's why we don't have the arches yet. I'm building arches once that's all done. And maybe we'll link up some earlier videos so you guys can check out the car. But if I get to the back here, you can really see how wide these quarters are. So yeah, it's got hips and the front is stretched too. Just a little preview of the floor with the Mustang suspension. So that's that. One other thing, actually, I was excited to do this. We got side exhaust through the rockers. Yeah, so that's what kind of quick overview of what we've done on this car. Now let's get into today's build. We're going to be building the taillights and installing them, stuff like that. So let's roll. We need a videographer, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Are you videoing now?
Yeah, what are you working on?
Well, we are modifying these brake. If you remember last time, we only had about 1/4 or 3/8 of an inch of thread engagement left because we had to put a spacer behind here so that our brake rotor didn't touch these tie rod, or the spindle, I guess, and the tie rod here.
Yeah.
So we had to put a spacer behind the brake rotor, which then gave us almost no thread engagement for the stud. And so now we're changing the stud because this is an M12 by 1.5. And that's different than the back, which is an M14 by 1.5 thread. So it was hard to find an M12 in a long enough stud. Still wouldn't have been really satisfactory. So we're drilling them out to use a bigger M14 stud, so that we can use the same nuts front and back and don't have to, change sockets or whatever when we're taking wheels off, right? So that's kind of the point of this, just to make it easier to work on and service. But yeah, so we'll take the brake rotor off. And caliper, and then we'll drill these holes out and press in the new stud, and hopefully they're the right size.
Sweet. Are we gonna have to drill the rotor pads too?
The rotor will be big enough because it's for that size of stud.
Because okay, yeah,
Yeah,
makes sense.
I think we'll have to drill those adapters that we got from a place that gave you the wrong ones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Amazon special.
Amazon specials aren't always special. And this is the clearance we had to make on these, right?
Well, they were touching.
Yeah, and now
They're a lot closer. I'll show you what it's like when it's bolted on. So that's the clearance we have now.
Yeah.
It's pretty tight.
Yeah. And to confirm it works, this side's in already. Tony knows how to make quick work of things here. These are the Amazon special spacers here. I gotta make them a little bigger yet.
So on the first side, I found this, which is from a bed plate on an 0964. It's where the fan mounts to, and this part sticks into the engine. This will keep it in place while I'm drilling these holes. So this is all it's for. So I don't have to take this back off and take it to device is the idea. Because we already kind of staked the nut and torqued these how we want.
It saved a bunch of time, and I'm surprised these hammered out easy.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
Show that?
Should actually. I didn't even need one that big.
No?
But maybe I would have been that efficient too. No.
Yeah, so they're all drilled out now, and rather than using a nut to pull them in, because they're a bit tight, I did this.
Is that a ball joint press?
It is, yeah.
Sweet.
Seems to do the job. Has a lot more power than a nut was, and we're not risking damaging any threads or anything.
I feel good about that.
Yeah.
So, if you remember earlier, our studs had not even a finger width of engagement before. So now we got lots. That'll be awesome. So that project is done besides torquing them in place. What are you working on?
I'm working on Sweet Success? No. Working on I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but we're working on the 2050 Mustang EcoBoost fan control relay. So what it does, I don't know if this makes sense to most people, but it runs, if you're running high-speed fan, there's two separate relays here, fan control 1 and fan control 2, and they will run 12 volts to this cooling motor and 12 volts to this cooling motor. Now, if you're running low speed, then what all they do is they run power through one motor, then they run it through the relay, and then back down through the other motor before going to ground. That splits the voltage, so they each get 6 volts. And when I looked at the wiring diagram for the Flex cooling fan module, which is this one.
Ford Flex here, right?
That's right, from a 2010 EcoBoost.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't list it as being able to be controlled that way because it has a module here and it doesn't show what the wiring is doing on this side. But Devin and I just tested it, and we can run it exactly like the EcoBoost ran their cooling fan. So we'll have to get rid of the connectors because I don't have these pigtails. We'll just splice it in probably if we can't find a connector that'll work on here. But at least we'll have high speed and low speed on the fans run by the computer. So that's very
sweet.
exciting and easy, and means no wiring unless we want to do an override switch in the future. We might, just to allow it to cool off between runs. We could run the fan on low, just so that it's not starting a run at normal temperature, so that the engine cools down a little bit more than it normally would. So we might run a low speed switch at some point, but for now we'll just wire it up and let the computer take control of it.
Should we run it hard, right? Like that's why we'd want that. If we run it hard on the track and then we have to park it right away.
It would just be, yeah, I guess, like, so that your heat doesn't sort of build up, like, because
Yeah.
you cool it down a little bit, especially if you're doing something like drag racing or whatever, where every little bit of power matters. You can cool it down a little bit more, especially if you would take out the thermostats or something like that.
Yeah.
Then you can cool it down a little extra if you need to, or run a cooler thermostat than factory,
This sounds like that'll work as intended now.
Yeah.
So I've got the wheel on, both sides on the front, with our new lug nuts that match the back, so everything can be done backwards to forwards, rotation. So we have a square setup for that reason. Now we can actually legitimately go backwards and forwards. And these are big brake kit installed on Miata stuff. We got a whole Miata front subframe in here. So I'm working on taillights. I unfortunately sold one set because it's a parts car, so we gotta make them. And so I've prototyped the backing for this. So here's a little close-up, guys, girls, of what I'm thinking. We'll make it out of thin aluminum, and that way I can just drop it in here. Figured you'd want to actually see it up close. That gives us the depth we need. This is going to be the taillight backing for the passenger side, actually for the driver's side of our car. Copied off of this template. The reverse lights going on the inside, like factory. Then this one's going to go here. There'll be 2 taillights. And there'll be a signal and a brake as well. Signal on the outside. So when this goes on here, these will be sitting in the base of this. Next I need to figure out how to mount them into there. So the lights we have are DOT rated. They are LED lights by Grote. They're 4 1/4 inches from here to here. And so is the reverse light. This one's not LED, I believe it's incandescent. I was trying to find something. I don't have a hole saw. It's Sunday and the store's closed. And I kind of want to start cutting into here. So what I found worked was this is a 4 1/4 inch. If I wrapped a little bit of tape around it, just check this out. I want the lights to slide in from the back side of this panel, and there's a lip it sits on there, and I can Sikaflex those into place. The lights are in, they're not glued yet. Tony was saying when we take up these corners, it could get too hot for this because aluminum transfers heat really well. So we're going to take these together first. I may as well do a test fit over there that evening. And then it just looks kind of neat seeing the back side of these lights. When I flip this over, the reverse light will probably come loose. So we'll just give it a try anyways. There's one. So right now you're looking at it from upside down because it was just a straight flip over. They are just drying right now, but Tony and I made the decision that we should paint these things black and it would match nicely with our taillight panel. And he's also done all the welding so that they now hold their shape. So we'll seam seal all the edges on there and they'll be good to go. So I got the lights in there, the 2 reverse lights, and then we're gonna have 4 tail lights, and we got our brake lights and signal lights. So these do double duties, and I used Sikaflex to put it in here. I should actually show you guys that. It's the same stuff we use on our motorhomes at work to mount the tail lights, from what I recall. But it's this stuff here. The 505 UV. We've installed them now. We still got to put some sealant in there, but me and Tony both decided we like them set deeper like they are. So they're in there, and that's the look you're going to see because we'll be passing you if you're trying to race us. So there we go.
Nice.
Hey Tony, what's up?
My progress is kind of slow, but I got lights, and we realized it seems to be like, as far as I know, that the modules talk to each other. There's 2 modules, a light control module and and then the actual tail light sort of communicate or send signals back and forth to operate that. Because the body control module does not send a pulsing signal to the back. It sends it to the front though, so we're going to borrow power from there and run LEDs so we don't draw too much power. So I've got, these are my turn signals, and then I've got my park light here. That's park light to the back, marked. And then I'm currently chasing the wire for the high mount stoplight, which does run to the back, so I'm not going to cut that one. I'm going to try to find it in the back, and then all I have left to find is reverse lights, and we need to wire up our lights in the back.
Nice. What do you got there?
Well, this is that piece I made way back when. This is because this EcoBoost intercooler from a Ford Flex, it came from a twin turbo engine. So it had, right here, show them this, Devin?
Yeah.
This was going into 2 different pipes because this was in from both turbochargers on that EcoBoost. So now this is going out back to our engine because our turbo comes in on that side. So I custom built this piece to run the two kind of separate sides into one. So anyways, what I'd realized was I never really cleaned up the inside of this after I'd welded it together. So there's some sharp angles and stuff that I smoothed out with the die grinder. And then I'm also gonna, the reason I had this off is I'm gonna put this sensor probably right about here. And this is our turbocharger boost sensor that we talked about a little bit ago. So yeah, this is gonna tell the engine when to open the wastegate base, or this part here. This is the I forgot what they call this one. Turbocharger bypass. No.
It bypass boost or what?
Yeah, but it basically runs boost back into the intake. So controls the boost of the turbo. So yeah, this will about 70% confident our car will be running tip top after this.
Like, maybe if you explain what the car was doing and what we can
explain that.
I don't remember. Might as well cover it one time.
Oh, okay. Well, before, like first off, we realized the intake temp sensor wasn't there because we didn't have that part of the intake on this car. So this underneath there is the intake temp sensor. So we thought that might be the issue. Bought a sensor and a pigtail and wired that in. Now that code is gone. And I think when that code was coming up, maybe we didn't get the turbocharger boost code. But now anyways, I saw the turbocharger boost code. Did a little bit of looking into how this engine's built. And so it has a manifold pressure sensor on the one side of the, like on the intake, but after the throttle body. But before the throttle body, there's this turbocharger boost sensor supposed to be there. The car we wrecked this engine from was so smashed up in the front end that I think we just kind of overlooked that need was even there.
There was no recognizing anything.
There was a lot of mangled stuff. So
yeah.
Anyways, it is mounted on the intercooler on a 15 Mustang, so we're gonna put it in the same place, and then our turbocharger should work a lot better.
And then we also went over the spark plugs and found a mouse nest hiding in the back on cylinder 4, which wasn't making as much power either, right?
I did a power balance, and 4 was a little bit weak, but yeah, and then Devin had, I think 1 was actually the problem, was misfiring a little bit now too, because the water had dammed up and then run into one of the coils there. So Devin put a bunch of dielectric grease on them, and we got rid of that mouse nest. So let's see if we can get rid of that problem too.
Perfect. Yep.
All right. Okay. So in the process of die grinding this, I found a couple leaks from our crappy past welding skills. So, and we didn't have a TIG back then, so I'm just going to run over the welds with a TIG there, like where it didn't get good penetration. I ground on the weld, so there's a bit of a crack there. So there's a couple little places. Probably wouldn't affect performance ever, but I might as well fix it now while I have it off. And then this is where this boost sensor is going to go, but I didn't really want it sticking in so far, plus the screw sticking in so far. I think what I'm going to do is it fits nice in this piece of, it's a wood table saw piece, but this will fit in here nice. So I'll take and cut a little piece of this off and weld it on here so that this sits flush. And then I'll weld a little nut on here so that we can put the bolt in without having to put the bolt into the path of the airflow.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Probably overthinking this, but whatever. Might as well do it the best way I think I can, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's next here.
All right, so all the stuff Tony showed you guys is very important, and I've been building the taillights, and he helped me figure out how to wire them. So let's get a look in here and see what we got going. We've used the, how do you say, Grody or Grote?
Yeah, Grody.
Grody taillights. I built these housings, as you've seen. I've got it neatly tied in, and then Tony got us on order this flat wire, and that runs to the front. So I'm up on the front of the car doing the wiring now, but everything should work here. We've tested the brake lights, and that is working. And we actually, this yellow wire here is our brake light signal right from the switch on the pedal. And that we had to get too, hey?
Yeah, because this car originally had those fancy taillights with the sequencing and all that, the brake light was only actually run through communication. It didn't send a direct brake signal, as far as I'm confident of, in the back. So that yellow wire comes from the third brake on the Mustang. That's where we got it from. Or the high mount stoplight, whatever you want to call it. And so that's the one we tied into these LEDs.
Yeah, and being LEDs, they don't have a lot of draw, which is kind of nice, but they're super bright. And I'm happy about how it's all working. We did want to keep that module, right? But to figure all that out wasn't going to happen right now, and we didn't put enough lights into sequence in the back here, so that went out the window. But
well, a lot of that computers run in the lights themselves.
Yeah.
So that's why we didn't do that.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that. I'm going to work up front, but we're going to go for lunch now. So we're finding a lot of crud getting up into the door jamb here. If I back out of here, up in this area, all the way back into like in there. So I've templated this paper piece here. We're gonna just make it out of paper. It's a good day. Good idea, right, Tony? Yeah. Okay. So that's the paper piece. I've transferred it onto this sheet of ABS. I'm gonna try and make it out of that, one on each side. I think they'll work almost the same on both sides. So I'll make that and I'll show you guys when I'm ready to mount it up.
So I've got wiring diagram here, and this is my connector end view. So I've got the connector wired up. This is for identification. So I've got pin 1, 2, and 3. And I think I found the wires that it goes to. If this doesn't work, then I'll have to go all the way back to PCM and trace where the wires are. But I think this is the ones. So I'm gonna strip these. I'm not gonna crimp them yet. I'm just gonna probably use some clamps or something to connect these. And then we'll scan it and see what our boost pressure sensor is saying. If it's reading on the scan tool, then I know I've got the right wires, and if it's not reading, I have to keep looking.
Do I just blow on this thing before we stick in the...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, okay. So I've got a greasy for you.
Perfect. Yeah. Just put your mouth in there and give CPR to the car.
Exactly.
Okay. So I thought Tony was joking, or I was just cracking a joke that we were supposed to blow in this sensor, but that's actually what I'm going to be doing. So he's up in the car right now with your scan tool, hey?
Yeah.
All right.
Read the boost pressure sensor with the scan tool here on second.
So you're going to be able to tell me how much boost pressure I can make, right?
Yeah, let's see if you can do one here. So we've got our throttle boost. Well, the scan tool calls it throttle inlet pressure because it's on the turbo side of the throttle body. Boost sensor reading now. We had wired it up with these wires that we thought, which was, we were just going by color here because that's the best we can do. And it wasn't working. It was still showing 5 volts, which basically means an open circuit, right? Because the computer sends 5 volts to check the sensor, and whatever the sensor pulls that voltage down to is what it reads. So the ground, I checked the different wires, and I couldn't find the ground on this one, which was supposed to be the sensor ground. And so then I wired it back up with the other ones the way they should be, but then went directly to ground up on the engine, whatever. Anyways, grounded the sensor myself, and then Devin went up there, turned on the scan tool, and then we were reading 1.59 volts, and then, which is awesome. I couldn't get the PSI to pop up, but I'm assuming that's reading 14 PSI, like absolute pressure, right? Not gauge pressure. Anyways, so it's reading what it should, and I blew into it, and it blew into here, and it adjusted the voltage by what you say, 0.1?
1.76 to almost 1.8.
Yeah, so what, 0.2 of a volt. So that's,
yeah.
And a person's lungs can be barely any pressure.
You made a lot of boost though.
Yeah, yeah, I probably made half a pound. But anyways, very excited because it's working.
That is exciting.
So we'll get this wired up. I don't know yet if I'll try to find the actual sensor ground would be better than just doing it to whatever my own ground. It's better to run the ground through the computer because that way you know it's has all the information. But if we can't find it, we might just run it around to the chassis for now and see if it has any problems and go for a test drive.
Sweet, I like that. So I should finish up my splash shields real fast.
Yeah, for sure.
And if we look at the weather outside, it's gloomy, but it's not raining, so. Yeah, so I'm in the middle of the splash shield. What I'm finding is, if I take the knife, as you can see I've started here, and I'll run a score along here, and then I take the plier and I snap it, it comes off pretty fast, so. Here is the splash shield. I've got it made out of ABS plastic. We're gonna have to rivet it in place yet, but it's done. Worked really nice. I used a torch to heat this, curve it into place. So that'll keep the stones where we don't want them. All right, I've got the splash shields in there. They are a very good fit. They shouldn't let a lot of dust in there. I'll probably take the heat gun to it just to make sure these match the contour in there. Turn the wheel. So that should keep everything out of our door jambs area now. We are in the country here to move this thing around, so. It's running way smoother.
Yeah. It's not great. It's not perfect, that's for sure.
But this is lots, like, world of difference.
Is it smoking at the exhaust still?
It wasn't black smoking on cold start. I'll go back and look. Okay, give her one. It's a gray smoke now instead of a black, so it's not pig rich anymore. So here is our list of to-dos. It was about this long when we started, and we kept adding to feel good because we added like this extra. This one is the only one on this list we won't get done is wiring fans because that wiring comes in next week. So I'm going to show you guys the fruits of my labor here. So Tony's got stoplights, signals on both sides, and then
Park lights, probably.
yeah, we got lights. That looks actually pretty cool. And then reverse, we have to find that under the dash. So, and the flashers work. I haven't tried that. They should.
Where's our button here?
Is it on?
They probably don't work, I guess.
That might be accident related though, hey?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay, that's one thing we'll have to figure out yet. But anyways, yeah, I think it's test drive time. What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you driving out because I like the startup sound.
Well, we have to drive that other truck first.
Oh yeah, we go for test drive on something else first. Okay. A little mud bowl here. We got springtime. we're almost an empty garage this place. If he wasn't working right now, we could actually go there. It pulled pretty nice around the corner, didn't it?
Yeah, I think we're still short like 100 horsepower. We should be.
It feels like we're short, yeah. Those tires definitely pick everything up, eh?
Yeah.
It does rub a bit.
No, I don't think that's right.
No?
No, that's resonation like
It wants to.
like right here.
Yeah.
Feels good for a bit, and then it kind of drops off.
Yeah.
Can you watch this?
Manifold pressure, that's what MAP is.
Those top two, yeah.
3 psi and 14.62 right now.
Yeah.
Nobody's there on my side. At what point am I looking? The whole run? You had 20. Oh, that's good brakes.
Not too bad.
You had 26 psi and
Well, that's it, eh?
yeah.
On this one.
This one was 26 on map. Do the other one again.
Which one what did you get on map?
26 psi.
Oh, really?
It hit 32 on launch there for the throttle
On this
inlet.
one?
On throttle inlet, 32.9.
Huh. But maybe that's all the power it has. That's not bad there.
It was pulling half decent.
Yeah.
Go. Okay, it's ready.
Okay. I can video you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I won't have any technical terms. We just did that test drive. First gear is useless, but there's a lot of traction in the wet. We're still down on power. I think Tony said throttle it over boosted, right? So the throttle's only opening 60%. So we're missing some power that way. But I had a lot of fun. This is my first time actually really getting behind the wheel. Normally we have Tony doing the test drives because he's the guy behind mechanical stuff. He knows what we're looking for, right? So this is my first time behind the wheel with actually figuring it out. I struggle with first to second, getting in first. It's getting a feel for it. All the gears feel like so close together. So we're working with that a bit, but driving it is a blast, and it's very responsive, but very darty. So we have more alignment stuff to do. I forget what we 0-60 did at, but to 100 kilometers an hour, you remember what we were at?
I don't know.
I'll see if I can do a screenshot of the data for you guys to see that, but it's fun, like lots of fun, guys, but we still have some tuning to do, and so a couple more bucks to work out, but I think we could probably race this thing, hey, at this point, almost.
Close, but the power is not reliable because of the overboost.
That's
Because
true.
it all of a sudden you'll have a different amount of power than it normally does. So that part we need to get rid of.
So tuning that should pull that out, right?
I think so.
Okay, so and we have no cooling fans, but we're like 5 degrees Celsius outside, and it stayed around 160 to 180 depending if we were stopped in the wind. So I feel good about that too. Tony has something to add, we'll talk about it later. We gotta do some diagnosing now, so alright. Feel that? That's all over on this. They're more consistent than they used to be, hey?
Yeah.
Number 3 spikes faster than the rest.
Not much now. And our engine is hurt, and so I'm not sure why it's smoking as much as it is, unless the PCV is bad, or if that is just a tubing, like timing like that.
That could all be when.
Like it shouldn't be as blue as this. Actually, now it just smells like fuel, doesn't it?
Yeah. Maybe is it? It can't overfuel, like for safety, and smoke and not smoke black, right? Or would it?
Like black and blue are all like relative.
Yeah.
It confuses for each other. Well, like to me, the smell. I don't smell any oil in this stuff.
It smells like my snowblower. Yeah, that's what it is. Something like a power sports equipment, right?
Yeah. In which case, then that's again just tuning, likely, which is good.
Because, like I say, I felt points where this thing really hauled, and then just for for a second or two at a time, and then it kind of went back to doing its same old.
I felt points where I was almost happy with it.
Yeah, there was points where I almost got giggly, you know, and then it went away as soon as you were into that excitement, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Overall, I mean, we didn't have anything break down. We have no coolant leaks.
I'm very excited, even if this is all we get right now, to take it to the racetrack. I could use more pedal feel.
Like accelerator pedal?
Brake pedal. I feel like I was still hard on it, but maybe I have my big clunky winter boots on.
It's stiff. Like I think we do need to plan to sometime put a power booster on.
And that's doable, hey?
Yeah.
Or would we go?
We could, like right now, the pedal doesn't move at all.
There's no travel, right?
Yeah. If we could have double or even triple the travel, and that would give us a lot more. Like if we change the angle,
Yeah.
we'd have a lot more pressure and more feel, and not have to push as hard.
Rev matching, I don't think is very easy, like on the brakes at the same time.
I'm not sure. Oh yeah, it wouldn't be easy.
Everything feels wonky.
I think we probably basically just need to plan for putting a booster on.
Yeah.